Welcome back to Models and Agents, episode FD5, on May 21st, 2026. Let's see what shipped. Let's see what happened in the AI world today. And trust me, it's been busy. A general-purpose reasoning model just disproved an 80-year-old math conjecture by finding better constructions than the square grids mathematicians expected. OpenAI announced that one of its general-purpose models solved the planar unit distance problem posed by Paul Erdős in 1946. This marks the first time AI has autonomously resolved a prominent open math question. The model discovered an entirely new family of constructions that outperform the square grid patterns long assumed to be optimal. The result came from a model not specialized for math. It maintained long chains of reasoning across distant concepts and surfaced previously unexplored paths. OpenAI notes that the same systems will soon accelerate work in biology, physics, and medicine, while still requiring human judgment to choose problems and interpret outcomes. Developers should watch for follow-up papers and whether similar reasoning gains appear in coding or scientific tool use benchmarks. Now let's move to the model updates that landed this week. Demis Hassabis highlighted that Gemini 3.5 Flash outperforms the prior 3.1 Pro on coding and agentic tasks. The model runs 4 times faster than other frontier models. It reaches 800 tokens per second in anti-gravity. Gemini 3.5 Flash also ships at less than half the cost of comparable systems. A Pro variant is still coming. Builders working on latency-sensitive agents or high-volume coding workflows should test it immediately in the Gemini app or anti-gravity. Hassabis pointed to the official Google blog post for deeper technical details on the new Flash model. The release continues Google's push to deliver faster, cheaper inference optimized for agent workloads. Let's turn to the agent and tool developments. Resolve AI expanded its platform with a coordinated team of specialized agents. These agents pursue multiple hypotheses in parallel, cross-verify conclusions, and build full causal chains for production incidents. The new architecture reportedly doubles root cause accuracy on internal benchmarks. It includes always-on background agents plus a shared workspace for human-agent collaboration. Engineering teams can integrate it via REST API or MCP server and pay only for actual troubleshooting work. Curated.ai launched the Artemis edition of its agent platform. The platform centers on a YAML-based agent blueprint language. An AI architect called Arch translates natural language requirements into deployable, governed multi-agent systems. The platform uses a dual-brain architecture that pairs LLM reasoning with deterministic business rule execution. It supports 175 models across clouds and on-premises. Existing customers are already planning migrations while new deployments start on the updated stack. Replitide introduced decision context graphs that give agents structured memory, time-aware reasoning, and explicit decision logic. The graphs make agents non-regressive so they can compound validated action sequences over time. The approach encodes applicability rules and temporal validity directly rather than relying on the model to infer them. On the practical and community side, Llama Station reached version 0.9. It is a Windows GUI that launches Llama Server directly with full parameter control. The tool supports multiple backends, including official llama.cpp with MTP, TurboQuant for high-context KV cache quantization, and voice features via XTTS and faster Whisper. Users report strong results running Qwen 3.627b at 177 kilobytes context on dual RTX 3060 cards. The project retains real-time VRAM monitoring and per-model profiles. The project is open source under MIT and accepts contributions for Linux and Mac ports. The LLM Planner site helps users match rigs to models or models to existing hardware. It covers more than 60 builds and more than 50 models. The site cites more than 130 talk/s sources and links more than 150 reviewer videos. It includes decode and prompt processing speeds at multiple quants, power draw, and multi-region pricing with weekly updates. A user running Llama 370B locally with function calling is seeking cheap or free APIs that return useful web page chunks. The thread surfaces practical trade-offs between context quality and cost for local agent setups. Okay, let's pop the hood on multi-agent verification loops. Everyone talks about multi-agent systems as if simply adding more models will automatically improve reliability. In practice, verification works through explicit handoff protocols. One agent must cite every evidence fragment it used. Another agent is tasked with attempting to disprove the proposed causal chain. This adds measurable latency, often 200 to 400 milliseconds per verification round. Yet it dramatically reduces confident but unsupported conclusions on complex incidents. The key engineering choice is deciding how many independent hypotheses to explore in parallel versus how deeply to verify each one. Teams that over-verify see diminishing returns once accuracy plateaus, around 85 to 90% on their internal eval sets. When the cost of a wrong root cause is high, the architecture shines. When speed matters more than perfect explanations, a single well-prompted agent with strong retrieval still wins. The gotcha that bites most teams is forgetting to let agents explicitly say, "I do not have enough evidence." That turns the system back into a confident hallucinator. Here are the things to try this week. Test Gemini 3.5 Flash in the Gemini app or anti-gravity for coding and agentic tasks to see the reported 4 times speed and sub-half cost gains firsthand. Spin up Llama Station version 0.9 if you run llama.cpp on Windows and want full parameter control plus TurboQuant high context support without command line overhead. Experiment with Resolve AI's MCP server integration so your existing coding agents can hand off production debugging to the multi-agent investigation system. Explore Core.ai's Artemis platform on Azure if you need declarative agent definitions that combine LLM reasoning with deterministic business rules for regulated environments. Compare the Riplet-Tide decision context graph approach against plain RAG when building agents that must respect time-scoped policies and avoid regression on repeated tasks. On the horizon, OpenAI is expected to release further details and papers on the general-purpose reasoning techniques behind the Erdős result. Google will continue rolling out Gemini 3.5 Flash capabilities and the promised Pro variant. More enterprise agent platforms are likely to announce MCP and REST interoperability as the pattern becomes standard for agent-to-agent handoff. Hardware vendors and open source projects will keep shipping new backends and quantization methods aimed at 100 kel plus context on consumer GPUs. Tomorrow, keep an eye on the first follow-up papers from OpenAI on the reasoning techniques that cracked the old math problem. That wraps up today's AI briefing. Share this with a developer or builder who wants to stay current. Subscribe wherever you listen. See you tomorrow. This episode used AI voice synthesis of my voice. Editorial selection and analysis are my own.